is, do we know if speak of the devil.
Mr. Gundy's going to join us because I have another appointment, so I don't know how long I'll be able to
Okay.
stay.
Is he on his way?
Yeah, but you can,
We can go ahead and start?
yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Per some of our conversations in the past weeks, there's been a lot of consultation by myself, by various people, including the county attorney, as far as how to fix, clarify, whatever term you want to use, to put it into the waves that we are having when it comes to paying our bills. I am working with the county attorney on a document that is right now just a concept in my mind, but it goes without saying that the document that we had before, while well-intentioned, doesn't mesh with the people and personalities that we have here. So one thing that the document is going to stress, that this body, this county commission, is here. We can't make laws. We can, similar to Sheriff Crickbaum, you enforce the law on the street. We enforce the law behind this table. And in order to get when we have questions as to whether we are abiding within the statutes, we have chosen and we pay a county attorney, and that happens to be our prosecutor. And when it comes to matters of what is legal for this commission to do, that question goes directly to our attorney. Now, whether I like her answer or anyone else likes the answer, she is the duly appointed county attorney. And in situations where she does not know fully the answer, she has availed herself to the opportunities to talk to judges, to talk to other attorneys, to go ahead and beef up her understanding of some of the issues that we are facing. With that in mind, most of the problems that I see with our document, with our bill paying, is that it's not really clear as to what the statutes say. We have a dozen people in this room, and if all dozen people read those statutes, we're going to have probably 10 different answers, maybe 12. But my opinion doesn't matter. These guys' opinion doesn't matter. The opinion that matters is the one that comes from the person who we are paying to give legal advice, whether I like it or not. That having been said, our original document the commission kind of tried to lay things out very systematically. The systematic approach hasn't worked. I think we're going to end up with a document, which we don't have one to roll out now. A lot of it's on scratch paper for me, but we're going to roll out a document that when it hits the table, it is going to be based upon what the county attorney, in her research, what she's been paid to do, determines what we need to do to be within the statutes. Individual office holders, once this hits the streets, it's your responsibility to stay within the statute. These discretionary funds, people at the state level like to call them slush funds. Whether I like what the law says or not, that does not matter. There are laws regarding those discretionary funds that I think are, let me give you a prime example. The contract between the cities and the counties. The phrase I use, it's 100% legal, but only about 10% ethical. But by law, that contract was perfectly legal. I don't like it one bit, but that doesn't change the fact that it is the law. And I'm sure Mike, Leah, when you're dealing with criminals, there are things that take place that you don't like, and you just have to accept it. And that's the point where we are at. We're going to put out the interpretation. This is what the law says. Whether you want to abide by it or not is entirely up to you. However, we cannot continue to, if the attorney offers an opinion, we can't run out and consult our own attorney and expect that to matter. If the auditor offers an opinion, I can't run to my CPA and find a dissenting opinion. If Mike offers an opinion on something, I can't run to the Pike County Sheriff and say, hey, give me your opinion, and me act on that. That's my sheriff, that's my treasurer, that's my auditor, that's my prosecutor, my clerk, and my associate commissioners. We belong as part of a body. And personal beliefs, as much as it stinks sometimes, have to be put aside, because once we establish what the law is, we will operate within the confines of that law. And if you don't want to operate within the confines of that law, the statutes allow us legal remedies to take care of that. And at this point, the monkey business is carried on long enough. That's where it will end up. Which I don't want to see it get to that point, because these concepts have been thoroughly researched. And we have a lot of it hashed out. Once we get the final details hashed out, we're gonna put it on the street and we're gonna live by it. I don't have to like the law, but I'm here to make sure that it's being executed properly. And when it comes to these discretionary funds, there are things that the prosecutor and the sheriff kind of have the lion's share of those. They are granted some freedoms with those. We can in no way infringe upon those freedoms. We may not agree with every penny that comes through those accounts, but people elected Mike, people elected Leah, and when they got elected, they became the shepherd of those funds. How they want to spend them is fine. Now, big question about transparency. I don't think there's anybody, especially not Mike or Leah, and I'm sorry to pick on you guys, but you have most of the discretionary funds. You have no objection at all with running your bills through the procedure that we're running through now. The commission looks at them, the clerk looks at them, the auditor looks at them, treasurer writes the check, boom. That way we have multiple sets of eyes looking at these things, and at the end of the day, we have a paper trail. And when it comes to transparency, transparency is being able to see through. Transparency doesn't mean I like it. If there are things about this policy that we don't like, that doesn't mean it's not transparent. That means we don't like it. Transparency has nothing to do with like it or dislike it. Can we see through it? And all of these bills, all of this money that is expended from these funds will be according to the statute. Will people like it? Probably not. You can't make everybody happy. However, anybody wants to see where the money went, where'd the money go? I know that as the holder of the slush fund, that's the state term. I hate that, discretionary fund. And as you, I know that you are willing to take every scrap of paper you have, lay it right on the table, and have open house and let them look at it. Which is a mark of a person of some integrity who is willing to stick their neck out and do their job and say, hey, here's what I've done. It's an open book. So that's my piece on the payment policy. If anybody has anything they would like to add, they're welcome to come up to the podium and interject something. If you gentlemen have something you would like to say, I just know that we did our office supply bid, so we're putting together a purchasing manual, so we will have our centralized purchasing supplies. That's not directly tied to the payment policy, or to the payment policy. The payment policy is going to cease to be a payment policy. It's going to be maybe a payment disclaimer. It'd be what it's going to amount to. Hey, here's what the law says. You have to, each individual office holder, it's up to them, according to the statute, to make sure you're doing things right. According to the statute. What's